The Mavericks look for revenge in Utah and with a 3-game winning streak as they take on the Utah Jazz on the road. We'll get you ready for tonight's game, all coming up here on the DLLS Mavs post-game pregame show. Here we go. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato, Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. We are DLLS Mavs, your favorite guys, Kevin, your favorite team, every single game night at Kevin Gray Sports, at Tim_Cato, at Bobby Carella. You can always dial up the Stein line for our national NBA insider, Mark Stein, at the Stein line. The Mavericks are back on the floor in Bobby's favorite place in America these days. The Utah Jazz.
Oh, my God.
Salt Lake City, Utah, the house of horrors.
No one told me that was the game tonight.
No, you should have known that because that's kind of why we're here. Hopefully you had a safe.
He's a big fan of Sundance. I don't know why I said it like that. Sundance.
I don't know why you said it
Fest.
like that.
Sundance.
I hate everything about that city.
I turned dance into like 4 syllables. I don't know why.
Too much turkey. Too much turkey for all
2
of us,
days
clearly.
off the mic, and I am just
washed.
Yeah.
Completely washed. Hopefully y'all had a safe and happy Thanksgiving. We really appreciate you hanging out with us here on the pregame show. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to get you ready for tonight's game. Mavericks looking for a 3-game winning streak while also winning the season series. Yes, the season series against the Utah Jazz. A lot to get to on this episode here on the pregame show. Shout out to Ronald, one of our newest diehard members here at DLLS Sports. I know he's multitasking because he's watching Survivor Series while watching the pregame show as well. So shout out to you, Ronald, as you're doing both. But let's get into it, gentlemen. Mavericks looking for their 3rd straight win, a season-high 3 games above 500 at 11-8. Take on a Utah Jazz team that's 4-14, 2-7 in Salt Lake City so far this year. Mavericks 6.5-point favorites coming into tonight's game. The over-under, if you're looking for that, 231.5. Game time at 8:30 p.m. tonight. Let's kind of set this up as we look at tonight's game. The Mavericks 7th in the West now at 11-8 on the season. Have won 6 of their last 7 games, won 2 straight, and of course begin a stretch tonight where they play 4 of their next 5 games on the road and are on the first night of a back-to-back themselves with the game in Utah tonight. Then they'll be on the road tomorrow against the Portland Trailblazers. Jazz, 2nd worst record in the Western Conference right now at that 4-14 mark. As we mentioned, they've lost 2 straight. They're currently 1-2 on what is a 5-game homestand for them right now. Utah also on the first night of a back-to-back. They've got Dallas tonight before they welcome LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers in tomorrow night. So both teams on the first night of a back-to-back, gentlemen, as tonight the Mavericks continue, hopefully, their hot play, but more importantly, look for revenge in a place that they just lost in 16 days ago, Tim Cato.
Well, shout out first, Jay, who's watching from Indiana. No, that's India.
That's India.
Yeah, let's go.
Shout out, Jay.
Shout out, India.
Have a great day at work.
Have a fantastic day at work. Wait, what are we talking about?
The Mavericks looking for revenge in a place they just lost 16 days ago.
Hopefully the Mavs don't screw it up for Jay. Jeez.
Exactly.
They better not.
Imagine being at work, watching the Mavs lose to the Jazz. That's like the worst. That would be us, actually.
Actually, that would be kind of us, actually. Yeah, we're kind of at work, and hopefully they don't lose to the Jazz again. That would not be what we look for here.
Yeah, I mean, look, the worst loss of the season. Man,
Tim is washed. It's over for him. He needs to start over.
Did y'all see that Twitter? There's a Twitter trend of already full after 1 plate, and it's people just posting gifs of washed players in jersey. So like they posted Kevin Garnett in a Brooklyn Nets jersey, maybe a New Jersey Nets jersey. I think Vince Carter or Tracy McGrady played for the Hawks.
Yeah, he sure did. Yeah,
I did not remember that.
We try not to remember that.
Me. Post a photo of me next time on this show right now, today. The Utah was the worst loss of the season, and it was a wake up call. It was the fourth loss in a row.
That's right.
And it really accelerated a lot of our just frustrations at this team not living up to everything we said about them before the year. I remember, I think in our collective mentions, there's people being like, this is your guys' fault. This is Mavs podcast media for hyping up the team too much. Nope, they suck. It turns out things weren't quite that dismal unless they lose tonight. In which case, you are welcome to go right back to doom posting. You have my permission. I remember I was saying before the preview, before the road game in Utah, we were like, well, they're gonna get things right. Like, there's no way they're gonna lose that game. So I'm not gonna say that stuff. Go win, but it's we'll talk about it more. But it's Kyrie in, not Luka. So it's not the same recipe. That's the only reason we'll talk more about it. But it's not the same recipe. Certainly, role players are revving up in ways that they haven't. The team is clicking. There is more synergy, chemistry going around, and quite frankly, look, you should have a good defensive game. Markkanen's in there, I believe. Sorry, I love getting into injuries ahead of our injury segment. So it doesn't really matter how many points Utah scores. Utah is the second worst defense in the NBA. Just go put up 130. It doesn't matter that Luka's not out. Go put up 130. This is a defense that you can go put up points against, and whatever it looks like, even if it's a 10-point win, it should be an easy. It should be a much easier win than that. Just go outscore this team. It's as simple as that.
It should be.
It should be.
It should be.
That plan is as simple as that.
It should be.
Executing that plan should be as simple as that.
I mean, let's think about it.
And PJ Washington is back. Good point from Luke.
That's right. PJ Washington is back. I mean, let's think about it. These are two teams that have gone in opposite directions since the last time they saw each other. The Mavericks, as you mentioned, Tim, capped off what was a 4-game losing streak with that loss to the Utah Jazz. Since then, the Mavericks are tied for the second best record in the NBA. They're 6-1 in their last 7 games. As we mentioned, a season high 3 games above 500. Luka Doncic has missed 5 of the last 6 games due to injury, but the Mavericks are 5-1 in that span. Tonight will mark the 6th time in the last 7 games he will miss a game due to injury. Utah on the opposite end, their last home win, that win on November 14th, they've gone 1-6 since that game against the Dallas Mavericks, with their lone win coming at home a week ago to the New York Knicks, where they won 121-106. They've lost their last 2 games by an average of 16 points to the Spurs and the Nuggets. So 2 teams, Bobby, that have gone in complete opposite directions since the last time they saw each other in Utah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that Utah's gone in an opposite direction. I would say Utah was on the same dang path as they were before the Mavs went in there and lost. That loss was about the Mavs not winning the game. They have not had a game remotely as poor as that one since. And so, it seems like that has become a bit of a turning point. This is what I wrote. I'm going back to the article I wrote because I wrote the post game thing. I'm struggling like you are. God, it's been a long day for me.
What do they call it? The tryptophan?
Yes.
Is that what it's called?
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
It's the stuff that's in the turkey that makes you sleepy.
Yeah. That
makes it go unk mode. Just
yes.
sprawled out on the couch.
Just go night. That's right. Yeah.
In that article I wrote, what you see in this mess says more about you than it does about this team. Do you believe this is an indictment of a team with championship aspirations being perhaps either unprepared, unserious, or both? Or do you think it could be a promising sign that, despite missing several starters and key role players, this team is very close to being 9-3 if only they could fix a couple things? Just how much water is in this glass?
That's a good line. Bars.
Thank you.
That's good.
It seems like the Mavs said, we're better than this, damn it, after that loss, and we're going to go out there and prove it. It doesn't matter who's healthy. It doesn't matter who's available. It doesn't matter who's not. It doesn't matter who's out. It doesn't matter what shape or size Luka is. It doesn't matter whether Kyrie's in or out. It doesn't matter who our starting big is. We're all going to play better. And it seems to be that they have bought into that. They've only lost one time, since that game, and it was to Miami. And that can I do my scouting report right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. There ain't no scouting going on tonight. All right. Spoiler alert. My scouting. This is going to be like a pep talk. All right. So let's go back to last season before we talk about the last time the Mavs played the Jazz. Last season, January 9th. the Mavs lost at home 120-103 to the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, normally that might just be an unspectacular game. Stands out to me in my memory because the Grizzlies starting lineup that night was Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane, Luke Kennard, Vince Williams Jr., and Bismack Biyombo. And they beat the Mavs by 17. Kyrie played, Luka played, doesn't matter. Mavs got smoked.
Oh, boy.
After that game, the Mavs lost 0 games against teams with losing records for 3 months. They didn't lose to another losing team after that game until the second to last game of the year, whenever they lost at home to Detroit, when nobody played in the second half and Luka and Kyrie didn't play at all. Okay? That was a turning point moment for the Mavs. They lost some games they shouldn't have the rest of the year. They got blown out, but like they won almost every game they should have the rest of the season. In this season, the Mavs lost to Utah on November 14th, 16 days ago. Feels like a lifetime, right? They've lost 1 time since then. It was to Miami at Miami. Now, I personally believe the Heat, who are 9-8, are going to end up with a winning record. So pretty much every time now the Mavs play a bad team, we like to remember the Alamo down here in Texas. Like, the Mavs should remember Utah.
What?
They should remember just how poorly they played that night,
Where's
just how
the bell when you need
unmotivated they were, how undetailed they were, how unserious they were. And still, they were this close to winning the game.
Yeah.
It took the biggest defensive lapse I've seen in my life
Ooh,
to give
boy.
Utah an open dunk to win. Otherwise, Dallas probably wins the game. Okay, and that's with how terribly bad they played. So there's no excuse to lose. There's no excuse to not win this game.
Yeah.
And you could say the same thing about tomorrow's game against Portland. The Mavs are good enough. They are talented enough. They are deep enough to beat every single team they will play for the rest of the season that is going to finish below 500. And Utah is certainly one of them.
They're talented enough to beat any team.
Any team, yeah. But I'm saying,
especially the bad ones.
I mean,
But
coming into the last season, the Mavs won, I think, 24-5 against teams that finished below 500. They need to do that again. They need to finish that or better if they want to finish top half in the West. So like, you kind of already lost to a couple teams that might have losing records. No more. Like, take care of business.
Yeah, and to your point, it's there's games that they're going to go into. They're going to play Oklahoma City on the second night of back-to-back, and we're going to say, yeah, they can beat this team, but there's understandable reasons stacked against them why they shouldn't beat them. There is no circumstance that for any game against a below 500 team that I think you go into saying, well, this is why the Mavericks might lose. Sure, they're going to lose a couple more maybe throughout the rest of the season. But you should go into every single game against a team below 500 and say, this team is more talented. It doesn't matter who's in, who's out, to an extent. But,
And I think, our big issue with that Utah game is not that, I mean, look, Jordan Clarkson made some really tough shots.
Sure.
Like, the Jazz didn't just
They didn't
do
lay
nothing.
down.
Like, they played well. John Collins had another great game. That guy just turns into, LeBron against the Mavs. But our big issue with that game after the fact was kind of like the Mavs just seemed to be playing like they thought the game would be over and they'd have more points. Like, they thought the game would just kind of win itself. They didn't have that. Rick Carlisle used to use the word disposition all the time.
That's right.
They just didn't have that aggressive kind of tenacious disposition on defense. They were not aggressive at all on offense. They just kind of like let the game happen very passively. And surprise, whenever you do that against pros, you are going to lose in humiliating fashion. And
then had lapses of concentration in the end that gave up the bucket, obviously.
Yeah, and
Collins,
and they lost to Miami, last weekend or whenever that was. That was not at all like the Utah loss.
Sure.
I mean, they lost and it was frustrating and it was annoying and Spencer Dinwiddie was chucking threes and all that stuff, but like, they played hard. They lost. They did not play hard against Utah, and you have to play hard. It doesn't matter what their record is. You have to play hard.
I have a tiny, very quick scouting report of my own.
All right.
So Utah does not have a good defense. I said that already. The one thing they do well on defense, and some of this is still small sample size, it depends on who you've played. They don't allow a lot of shots at the rim. They're third in the league at the percentage that they've allowed at the rim, or like third lowest number of shots taken at the rim.
A lot of drop, a lot of,
Yeah, and they've got tall players. They've got a good rim protector. They've got Markin out there who just also eats up a lot of space. Where they do allow a lot of shots? The short mid-range.
Ooh.
You know which team leads the NBA
Najee.
in the short mid-range? Najee, but
Yeah.
PJ and
Mhm.
Kyrie.
Lively.
Luka, Lively, Gafford, even to an extent. Yeah, Dallas is the team that leads in that area. So Utah, they're pretty good. They play a lot of drop. They prevent shots and layups and dunks. They do a better job of that than most teams in the NBA, but they allow a lot of shots in that in-between area. They allow a lot of threes, and Dallas has been hitting a lot of those types of shots, the 5 to 10 feet, and they've been hitting a lot of threes lately too.
Aggressive, man. Just be aggressive. Be aggressive.
Dallas is tied for first in the short mid-range and the percentage of shots they take there. Any guesses at who's second? It's a weird one.
Not Utah, right?
It's not Utah. Utah actually is third.
Go Cleveland.
It's Memphis. Cleveland was a great guess. It's Memphis. So
interesting.
Anyway, that's the end of my very short scouting report.
To go along with that, real quick, the Jazz in their last 7 games, second to last in the NBA in defensive rating, 6th worst in overall net rating, the worst in the NBA committing over 17 turnovers per game, 4th worst in steals per game, 6th worst in assists per game, and 4th worst in the NBA, allowing teams to score $120 a night in the last 7 games. Again, they're 1-6 defensively. For the Mavericks, they have been great in their last 7. Number 9 in opponents' points per game at 111.3. Number 5 in the NBA, only allowing teams to shoot 43.8% from the field. Number 5 in three-point percentage against, only allowing teams to shoot 33.2%. Offensively, of course, they're going to be led by Kyrie Irving, who's averaging over 25.5 points per game, shooting over 50% from the field and nearly 47% from 3. These two teams have seen them go, as Bobby mentioned, not necessarily in the opposite direction for Utah, but definitely for the Mavericks in the right direction in the last 7 games. Meanwhile, for the Mavericks, they're playing their final game against the Utah Jazz this season. The season series tied at 1 game apiece. Of course, the Mavericks got the first win in this series against the Jazz on October 28th. That got them to 2-1 on the season. And, of course, the aforementioned devastating loss. That was the 115-113 loss 16 days ago when John Collins got the bucket to help the Jazz win. So the Mavericks looking to win the season series in tonight's game. More on who's in, who's out, and some X factors, plus what Jason Kidd had to say about Najee Marshall and what he's been doing so far, especially in the last 10 games for the Dallas Mavericks. But before that, we got some incredible merch on sale right now.
It's not Friday right now. It's Saturday, right? But it is Black Friday weekend.
That's right.
And we got Cyber Monday coming up. We're having a big old sale over at the merch store. Now, if you scan that QR code or you go to store, it's right there, store.allcitynetwork.com. And then you go in there and search for your DLLS
hey guys,
stuff.
It's right there.
Good job, Tim.
What
right
you're
there.
going to find is 30% off the entire store. There's going to be some stuff that's up to 75% off. You can believe that. Get in there and
Don't
go.
we have like mugs now?
Yeah, so
We do.
We have some college mugs and pint glasses.
I believe you saw a North Texas flag.
Yeah, I know. I was going to complain about that. If I can, real quick, I was going to complain because they got college flags. They got TCU, Baylor, UNT, Texas. I don't know what Rough Tough Real Stuff is. This Texas Southern or Texas State or something?
Is it maroon?
Oh no, that's Rough Tough Real Stuff. Texas A&M. It's Reveille. They have Texas Tech. They have SMU. No UT Dallas. So I'm just saying, no UTD stuff yet. As soon as they do, I'm gonna raid the All City store. But if you go there, you can get they got coffee mugs.
Rave or raid?
Raid. I'm actually gonna 100% buy these coffee. These are actually really nice coffee mugs. I love coffee mugs. I'm wearing one of them right now. I saw Ardell shout me out in the chat. This is in the DLLS stars, like the victory green colorway.
Stars.
I like the stars stuff, I think, the most out of all the merch that we have.
Stars are just great. I love them.
That we have one. It's like the outline of the state of Texas with DLLS in there. It's kind of in the black with like the neon green sort of color. It's really nice.
Also, I want to let you guys in on a secret.
Oh,
I love secrets.
You probably got a dad, a brother. You don't know what to get them for Christmas.
Ooh, yeah.
But I bet if you're in this feed right now, but for most of y'all, some of y'all are from other countries and maybe not a fan of all the Dallas sports teams.
Some of y'all might not celebrate Christmas.
But maybe you are. But get the gift.
Yeah.
30% off.
Yeah.
It's a great gift.
Also,
get it knocked out right now. You will not do it if you wait. I didn't. I need to buy my Christmas stuff this weekend. Because then shipping, it needs to come in. You got to pack it. Get it done now.
And I can say this. So my mom is a loyal viewer, loyal DLLS Mavs viewer.
Shout out to Mama Corella.
And also has a DLLS shirt and just ordered another one. And she ordered on either Wednesday or Thursday because she's a diehard. diehards had early access to this. So she ordered on Wednesday or Thursday, and she got an email the next day saying it's already shipped. So she's gonna have her shirt soon.
So the PTSD you had from the first batch,
that was
it's done. We're good. We're good now.
Distant memory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like very akin to the Jazz loss. We think.
Not quite.
Store.allcitynetwork.com. Make sure you go get your gear. Mine is coming in very, very soon, so I will have mine. Trust me, because I don't want to be left out with the guys wearing the shirts. I'll have mine here very, very soon. Again, storeallcitynetwork.com. Get your gear today. Let's let you know who's in and who's out for tonight's game. Game time at 8:30 between your Mavericks and the Utah Jazz. Mavericks looking for their third straight win, looking to go a season-high 4 games above 500. Who's in and who's out? Let's start with the Utah Jazz. Jordan Clarkson out. He's dealing with a left plantar fascia injury. He will be out. Kyle Filipowski, he is also out with a left lower leg injury. Colin Sexton is available. He's dealing with a left finger injury. For the Mavericks, Dante Exum, of course, remains out with his right wrist surgery. Luka Doncic will miss his 5th straight game due to his right wrist sprain. Did practice, though, yesterday, so hopefully good news coming for the Mavericks in terms of his return. He is on the trip as well as part of the Mavericks going to not only Utah tonight, but Portland tomorrow. Klay Thompson already going to be declared out as well. He's missing his 3rd straight game due to the left plantar fascia injury that he is dealing with as well. Hopefully in the post-game show, we'll get more of an update from our guy Mark Stein when it comes to Klay Thompson's injuries. Someone who is not injured and playing extremely well as of late for your Dallas Mavericks is...
Real quick.
Yeah.
Before we go into him, this does seem like it's setting up. I'm not Mark Stein. I'm not reporting this. This is not a Cato line thing. It sure seems like it's setting up that Kyrie was going to play this game, and then Kyrie he needs a night off. He has been gassed at the end of several games in recent memory in the past week. It would make a lot of sense if he has a rest night or a shoulder sprain or shoulder discomfort or something for Sunday's game against Portland, also one of the worst teams in the league, and Luka makes his debut for that game, whereas Kyrie plays tonight, and Luka has one more day to get back.
And hang on, I'm tweeting that.
It just looks like it feels like that is the order of operations. Again, maybe Kyrie is like, no, I need to be there for my guys, and that's also perfectly defensible. He knows his body. The Mavericks obviously know way closer than that, but that's what it looks like it's setting up for, and we'll see.
We'll see about that as far as the Mavericks being on the first night of a back-to-back tonight against Utah. Najee Marshall has been playing extremely well for your Dallas Mavericks, especially over the last 10 games. Najee averaging over 16 points per game, shooting 58% from the field. He is going to be in the starting lineup tonight for your Mavericks. What can he provide as he continues to play well? Jason Kidd talking about the impact that Najee Marshall's had on his team pregame before the Utah game tonight. Take a listen.
Yeah, I think for Marshall, I think just being aggressive, understand what's needed right now. I think also just his comfort level, being a newcomer, feeling comfortable, being able to score. His floater in the paint has been at a very high level, and we're going to need that tonight. But I think just his comfort level, his ability to get us organized in the offense, and then now stretching the defense by, being able to shoot the 3 too.
Najee's been fantastic, and one of my favorite tweets that we have had from our DLLS Mavs account, of course, the other night, PJ Washington and Najee Marshall, we need a name for the duo. Have we settled on a name? I know there's been like 1,000 names.
What had the most likes?
I've seen like the Law and Order one, P and J, like the play on like the PB and J. Obviously.
No, I thought Sarah, who's diehard actually.
That's
Sarah
right.
had a great one.
Shout out Sarah.
Stabbing on business.
Stabbing on business.
Wait,
I thought that was
knife
pretty
in
good.
the guy.
Yeah, I
oh,
thought
okay.
that was
Wait, there's one of the 65 likes from somebody named Tim_Cato that says Podgy Marshington.
No, well, we got Narjay Marshington.
Narjay Marshington, yes, as well.
I forgot real quick. I forgot to show one of the shirts during the break. Here's a
Look at that.
El Matador.
Well, we can show it. We can
shirt.
show it in the postgame show
For
too.
sure.
Yeah, maybe I'll wear this one. If the Mavs lose, Luka, we need you, buddy.
Yeah, it's time to come back,
wear that
Luka.
one too.
But that dynamic duo has been fantastic. We mentioned the numbers from Najee Marshall. PJ Washington in his last 10 games, averaging 15 points per game, 10 rebounds per contest as well, shooting 47% from the three-point line. Those two have been absolutely dynamite for this Mavericks team offensively, defensively. they'll need more of that tonight as we jump into our X factors for tonight's game against the Utah Jazz. What those two gentlemen are able to provide alongside Kyrie Irving as well has been fantastic for this team. And not only that, as we jump into our next one, can the Mavericks' depth continue to be stellar? Bobby, what's our favorite saying when it comes to depth for the Mavericks?
Depth can only be depth when depth is depth. And
when depth is depthing.
Only two guys are out. They're two kind of important players. But Najee is averaging like 35 a game, so it's almost like you don't even know. But like
Dante Exum is out.
Well, that's true. That's true.
But
Dante hasn't played all year.
We're getting close to Dante Exum injury update time,
which would be nice.
Not like tomorrow, but like I think we're within a few weeks.
Yeah,
a couple weeks.
It would be nice.
It would be nice to have him for sure.
Anyway, sorry,
but they're
I don't like Dante being forgotten.
You're like relying on Najee to score 20 again, and you're relying on PJ to get double-doubles every night, and you're relying on Dinwiddie and Hardy and Grimes and like these guys that aren't necessarily asked to do this every single night, but they kind of all have to right now, and they are. The good thing, though, is Utah isn't the Knicks. You don't need all of them to score 20. You just need them all to not be bad. That's just be engaged. Just play hard, and you should win.
Mavericks have had at least 6 guys reach double figures in each of their past 6 games, including the Denver game in which they won, where they had 7 guys in double figures. That just gives you an idea, Tim, of how good this team has been in terms of their depth and how many guys are contributing on this team at this point.
They should run a 10-man rotation, and every player scores 13. And I think
for
a
$130,
that would work.
Yeah, is that the 130 you're looking for?
I started to say 11, and I'm like, wait, that math gets a little harder. let me rephrase.
He's like, let me just give me 10 at 13 for $130, and we meet the threshold.
Well, I would as a basketball enjoyer, I would enjoy seeing Kyrie Irving put up another efficient 30. As he continues not just making an all-star case, which.
He's playing at an all-star level.
No, I mean,
that dude is an all-star.
I think the question is whether he's playing at an all NBA level. Now, long ways to go.
Sure,
but it's a joy to watch Kyrie Irving every time he's on the court, and I plan to enjoy it. And beyond that, you're right. It's not about these guys are on a roll. And here's the thing: if one of them, if Najee Marshall just has an off night. He's earned one, Maybe this won't go on forever. Maybe he isn't just suddenly overnight turned into a 20-point scorer. Maybe he has, but maybe he hasn't. And if he has an off night, the thing about the Dallas Mavericks, this version of the Dallas Mavericks, even missing a few players, you feel confident that there are players that are going to step up in his absence. Spencer Dinwiddie has an off night. It's just about getting the collective, the sum of the players to come through, and even if the guards are having an off night, that's when you look at the bigs. You look at PJ Washington, you look at Derek Lively, you look at Daniel Gafford. And I am at a point with this team where I believe that doesn't matter who is necessarily going. I do expect in a game like this, in a situation like this, that enough people are going to get going, that enough people should be able to get going, that they can win. And so
they
should be.
I want to spend a whole segment on the post-game show talking about Wicked. I saw Wicked yesterday. I would love to break it down on the pod. Like, that's what go beat them. Go destroy them.
Wicked is it's Utah coded.
Wicked is a Broadway play made into a movie,
vibes.
and there's no jazz in it. All right,
Oh,
no jazz
wow.
allowed in Wicked.
Hopefully no
show
jazz.
tunes only.
No allowed tonight. Do we have the starting lineup officially for tonight's game?
Give me 1 second.
We'll get that here in just a second. While he's getting that,
Me and Robert are going to race
pulling
to
up
it.
Coop Mavs Twitter.
last X
It is
Factor.
Kyrie
Marshall,
Irving.
Washington, Lively, Grimes.
Well,
okay.
I had it at the same time. You just were louder.
And neither one of you have said the lineup
I
completely.
did. Marshall, Washington, Lively, Grimes, Irving.
Okay.
I would say it Irving, Grimes, Marshall, Washington, Lively. That's
Well,
more accurate 1 to 5.
Doesn't matter.
In other words, Lively
Oh,
stay
you
out of
believe in
foul trouble.
positionless
How about
basketball?
that? As long as
Okay.
Lively stays out of foul trouble.
Free
we're good.
Darko.
Yeah, Lively.
Just stay out of foul
Don't
trouble. my
foul.
guy.
Just don't foul Markkinen.
Like,
Don't foul Markkinen. PJ, don't foul Markkinen. Just
do that.
Follow him around. He's going to come off pin downs in transition. He's going to do a lot of that stuff. Don't forget where he is. Don't turn your head. Just pay attention to him. You'll win by 30. Literally just like stare at Lowry Markkinen and you will win by 30. Like that. That's it. That's it. Just look at the guy. Look at him.
Okay.
Look at the Utah on his
If Kevin
chest.
is Lowry, don't look
at his,
over here.
Don't look at his face. Look at the
Follow the ugly
I don't know if
ass
it says
bright
Jazz
yellow
or Utah or
Utah
whatever,
on his.
but yeah.
Follow the stupid note. Take note of his jersey and just follow him around.
We got to go. It's time for Mavericks basketball as they take on the Utah Jazz. Mavericks looking to go to 12-8 on the season and looking for a 3-game winning streak as well, while also securing the season series against the Utah Jazz. We'll be back here for our post-game show 15 minutes after the final buzzer. Our national NBA insider, Mark Stein, will be joining us live in studio as well. We really appreciate you joining us here on the pregame show. I'm going to go figure out who won the men's Survivor Series match, and then I'm going to watch the game right after that. But we really appreciate y'all joining us here.
Make Survivor?
Anyway, it's Survivor. It's
Mark, musicals just remind me of Mormonism. I don't know how to explain
God.
that.
All right. For Bobby Carell,
Jesus,
Tim
dude.
Cato, I'm Kevin Gray. We'll talk
Hasn't
to
worked.
you on the post-game show after the Mavericks take on the Jazz. Y'all be good. We'll talk to you later. Peace.
The book of
We all silly like the mayor.